Good afternoon and welcome to United MUFON. I'm glad you could join me today, and in case you've never attended a United MUFON meeting before, I'm here to share with you just a little bit about who we are, why we're here, and what we actually do here at MUFON. In every state, monthly, all over America and abroad. So, we certify and train folks just like yourself to be the boots on the ground in UFO and UAP investigations. And we work as teams of volunteers every day all over the world, bringing understanding and current stats to the UFO enigma and so very much more. And we're actually changing this phenomena for the better. MUFON has seen some amazing advances this year for our certified field investigators with MUFON University, and we now have a new platform for the CMS, or the case management system known to us here, and new form upgrades that we all use in our reporting, as well as photo, video, and flight radar analysis changes. And we've added astronomical data, satellites, dive teams, and FI training and information. And we think our certified CFIs, will love all the new changes and find them to be very positive, because we want to make learning fun and exciting for all of us here. And along with some new and much needed criteria advancements, our research and investigation technology, as well as the MUFON lab, has been upgraded and moved recently. This is all good news, and as the longest serving organization dedicated to studying the science behind UFOs, MUFON has been working hard in Washington, D.C. to bring understanding of and to destigmatize UFOs by meeting with members of Congress and sharing MUFON's findings in reports. These meetings and disclosures have paid off since the second official hearing on April 19th in 2023, just a few months back, in the Senate Armed Service Subcommittees on Emerging Threats and Capabilities. This meeting was historic in that it was only literally the second meeting on this phenomenon in over 50 years. It's hard to believe that there haven't been more. And MUFON is now being recognized by the United States government as a leader in all UFO and UAP investigations. And I might add, now is a very good time to join and support MUFON. MUFON has been nominated to be the civilian component on the currently developing UFO and UAP panel. This nomination is totally bipartisan and has been introduced in both the House and Senate. And we're all elated here at MUFON and very proud of all that our volunteers and our wonderful leadership under Dave McDonald has accomplished with us to reach new heights as we continue to be the gold standard in ufology, and we're very proud of that. But today, I have an exciting day planned for us. I have Sherry Ramanathan joining us from Tennessee MUFON, and she'll be sharing what she does here in Tennessee. She's newly appointed as a state director, and we're thrilled to have her with us. I'm looking forward to sharing what all state directors do in each state. This is going to be a fun-filled afternoon talking with Sherry. I'm so looking forward to this. She's an exceptional state director who has taken on this new role with true vigor. I want to hear all about her interesting life as a state director here in Tennessee. So stay tuned for all of that. That will be coming up just shortly. And in case you haven't heard, I also want to mention that MUFON's Observer Network is live. We'll talk about that a little later, and it's a huge success. So if you haven't yet joined our Observers Network, log onto it at MUFONOBM.net and get started today. It's free to all active MUFON members. Wanted to make sure you knew that. I have some current stats for all of you who are wondering what's going on in your state, and here they are. So along with all of this current updating, you may be wondering, what's going on where I live. And so you can see right here on the screen in front of us, there's been a global amount of 713 in the month of June reports. And in the US, it's 559 in the states. And as always, you can see that California and Florida usually are your top reporters, and Arizona. Texas is always right up in there too. Those are always high. And there's got to be something going on with flaps in those states, because throughout the year, as I've been reporting these stats to you, I've noticed they're right there, either one on top of the other, you know. And then we also have the different shapes of objects and things like that we talk about. And as you can see, the circle is 103, the spheres are 100, unknowns are 62. And I'll let you take a look at those. I won't read each and every one. But what is really interesting to observe out of our reports is that there were 21 landings or hoverings or takeoffs reported this last month, and 25 entities were observed. And that's been on the rise recently, I've noticed. So something is going on. We've got a lot more activity reported recently than we have had in the past. And 28 abductions through our ERT cases, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Who is the ERT? Okay, and we've got this new, our MUFON physicist, Rob Swiatek, did a comparison chart for us here of these shapes and things. And he has noted here the circular, the disc, and the spheres and others, and the things that have gone on. I just want to mention the Tic Tacs have gone up quite a bit. This is really good to have these types of statistics so that we can look at what's happening all across America. And the triangles have gone down a bit. I think that's interesting. And thank you to Rob Swiatek for all he does. He is a MUFON physicist. And carrying on there, you might also be wondering, what is MUFON all about? So let's get started. So MUFON is the Mutual UFO Network, and we were established in 1969. And we're the largest and oldest UFO investigative organization in the world, with a huge member base, and we do add to it daily, and we're represented in all 50 states and 40 countries with thousands of trained volunteers, and they're all certified field investigators. Over 50 PhD consultants in most disciplines, and we do conduct scientific investigations of the UFO phenomenon, while others are just UFO reporting agencies. So we were established, like I mentioned, in 1969, and for the past 53 years, MUFON has compiled a database of over, 195,000 UFO reports. Our CMS and, as I mentioned, our case management system, which is how we work within MUFON to get all of this information and develop our current stats. It was developed in 2006. And as MUFON has evolved, we now monitor abductions, and we also are looking into entity cases more and more because there have been so many reports. So you might wonder, how do we do the investigations that we do? Well, we use computer sciences, biology, astronomy, of course, physics, chemistry, geology, engineering, and those stats that we gather every month. This is, in fact, the scientific method. And our mission statement is that we investigate UFO sightings, abductions, and entity cases, and we promote research of UFOs with an eye always towards science. And we educate the public on the UFO phenomenon, which is what we do at every state director meeting that we hold in every state. So if you hear about one, join one. And we do have a board of directors, and our executive director is David McDonald. myself, Barbara Schusler-Sobani, she's our editor, Debbie Ziegelmeyer, she's with the MUFON dive team, and she's also the MUFON State Director of Missouri, and Rob Swiatek, and Richard Beckwith, he's the State Director in Wyoming and also a MUFON attorney. Jessica Taco, she is the CEO of A10 Associates. We're glad to have her on board with us. And Sandy Clevin, who is a psychologist. And of all the UFO reports that we receive, approximately 15% of those are actually going to be real. Okay, the others are misidentifications, optical illusions, stars, planets, hoaxes, and yes, hallucinations sometimes. Sometimes people are on medications that cause that, from their doctor. And so we have a lot of hard work to do deciphering what is and what isn't an actual UFO experience. And that's the reason for our existence. I want you to know that you are not alone, and we want to hear your story, no matter how bizarre it may sound to you. It may not be that bizarre to any of us here at MUFON. So go to MUFON.com and report your experience, and someone will get in touch with you very quickly. Now, I had mentioned the Experiencers Resource Team. What is the ERT? They are MUFON people who are dedicated to helping experiencers of alien contact, and currently our director is Dr. George Medich. So if you've had something happen to you, go to MUFON.com/experiencer-questionnaire and fill that out confidentially, and someone from the ERT will get with you and walk you through what you've experienced. You're truly not alone here. Now, just a little bit of MUFON business that's up and coming. I can't wait for August 24th through the 27th to be in Cincinnati, so please save that date. Please make plans to come. I look forward to seeing you there. And I'll be speaking there this year. We're talking about who are they, friend or foe? And so that'll be the big subject. I'll be talking about my alien healing with DNA that was submitted to our MUFON lab, and I'm sure you'll enjoy this. And we have many other speakers. I will just let you read that yourself and look at all the different speakers that will be there. It is going to be an amazing, wonderful time. And I say this all the time. It's like getting together with family, because once you're a part of MUFON, you join this massive family of volunteers who are really dedicated and passionate about what we're doing in the UFO field. And Barbara Sobani is calling for MUFON journal submissions, and anybody or any state director or just a member of anything that has happened to you and what is right there before you can see all of that. So contact her if you've had a story or something happen that you would like to share and submit it to the journal. It'll show up in our monthly journal, which is just an amazing magazine. There is really nothing like it. We're so proud of it, and we'd love to have your information in there as well. So also log on to our official MUFON podcast at MUFON.com. Our attorney and state director of Wyoming, Richard Beckwith, runs the official MUFON podcast and has just done a wonderful job with it. We'd like you to join us. And if you haven't seen Accidental Truth, this truly is a masterpiece in reporting. And our MUFON TV media man, Ron James, has compiled this. It is absolutely stunning. It's got all kinds of information available to you that you may not be aware of about what is going on currently. And it's narrated by Matthew Modine. So there's many different people involved in it. Nick Pope, and you can read there on your screen all the different people that are with it, but this is something you want to see. You want this education. And as the Director of Memberships, I would like to invite you to join MUFON today if you haven't already. We offer the electronic or hard copy monthly journal, or both. And we've got articles by leading ufologists, UFO sighting reports, one-on-one interviews, abduction cases, mutilations, and crop circles, just to name a few. And you can even live stream if you upgrade your MUFON journal. You can get that for $10 a month. And that is like an amazing amount, so that you can live stream the symposium right into your own living room. You know, it's really the best deal. So I hope that you'll consider doing that. Just go to MUFON.com and join for MUFON TV. Now, if you'd like to become a field investigator, first you would have to join MUFON and become a member. And then after that, you would go on to taking a test and getting a background check, and there is an additional fee, I do want to tell you, to become a team member and a field investigator. So if you follow the prompts on MUFON.com to become a field investigator, it'll walk you through all the information that you need to know. And I hope you'll consider that, because we really do need investigators. And visit our online store. There's all types of shirts and other items, hats, mugs, briefcases, and everything is pretty much emblazoned with the MUFON logo. So go to our MUFON online store at MUFON.com. You'll be glad you did. So every month, I try to do every fourth Saturday for United MUFON. And if you would like to join us, share with your friends and anybody that might be interested to MUFONmeetings.com, and they can join us. And let me also know there if there's something specific you would like us to talk about, or you have some questions. That's where you'd want to do that. And thank you so much for watching. It's always great to have you on. Now, today we're bringing on Sherry Ramanathan, and I am so glad to have her here. Let me just read a little bit of a bio that I have for her. She's the State Director of Tennessee MUFON and a STAR team member. She's located in the Murfreesboro area of Tennessee, and she has a Master's of Science in Mechanical Engineering and has attended University of Tennessee via University of Tennessee Space Institute. She holds a Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering, excuse me, at Tennessee Tech. I'm sorry, I should say Tennessee Technological University, not just Tennessee Tech, and has 36 years of experience as an engineer. And her work experience includes ballistic range work, projectile design, and wind tunnel hardware. Wow, that's impressive, Sherry. She is a certified consulting hypnotist and is trained in causal analysis, accidental investigations. Sherry is also a lifelong amateur astronomer, a world traveler, and would-be writer, and a history lover. And if all that wasn't impressive enough, she is also a knife thrower. But be advised, she cautions us it's for stress relief only, and she swears to that. So we're going to hold her to that. So join me in welcoming the mysterious Sherry to United MUFON. Hi. I'm so sorry, I have a cough coming in. I just, excuse me 1 minute. I'm so sorry. Sometimes when you get to reading all of that, you know, it kind of gets to you. But yes, welcome to United MUFON. I'm so glad to have you here with us today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and congratulations on, you know, your recent state directorship, and also the STAR team member. It's nice to have.
I'm so excited about that.
Yes, it is, isn't it? I mean, it really is. And I got to get this off of my mind here. I really want to know about that knife throwing business. It's just so intriguing. Whatever got you involved in that?
Well, I happened to catch a YouTube video of this guy that taught knife throwing. I just caught it accidentally, and it looked like so much fun. I want to try that. So I went and bought some cheap knives and started and decided very quickly that it was something that was for me.
Oh,
And
neat.
also decided very quickly that it was a huge stress reliever.
Is it?
Oh yeah, it's so much fun.
I can't even imagine. So are they little knives or, I mean,
The ones I started with were, but I very quickly found out that they don't work well for me. So I bought some. They're only like 13 inches long, and they got some heft to them, and they're much easier to throw. So
oh my goodness. And so you
it's
throw
with
these at cork boards or?
no, I build my own targets.
Oh,
It's a wood target, and you throw end grain. So and it basically will heal itself as long as you keep it wet. So
oh,
otherwise you spend a lot of money on targets.
wow. That is so interesting. And again, I must say, I'm glad you're my friend. It's good to know a knife thrower in case you ever need one.
Well, hey, you never know, do you?
No, not in this world anymore. No, you never do. That might not be a bad thing for me then to take on.
Hey, anytime I will get you started.
That is so cool. I love that about you. So, um, do you have a practice? I read in your bio there that you're a hypnotist, and are you practicing there in the Murfreesboro area?
I don't have an official practice. I got started in hypnotism when it was suggested by my doctor, actually, when I was having trouble sleeping.
Oh,
And he suggested that I go take the training and actually become certified instead of just going to a hypnotist and learning how to hypnotize myself.
right, right.
Like they have a much more in-depth understanding of how it works, why it does what it does, and I would be able to use it much more effectively. And I believe he was correct. So I took the class, and it was a week-long, all-day intensive class, and it was fascinating. I loved it. And
Wow. Mm-hmm.
so I've used it for myself, and I've used it for friends and family, but I never did start an official practice because that wasn't my intentions when I became
Right.
certified.
Well,
So
and doesn't it take the patience of Job to do that with others? I know that it really, Kathy Marden has always done anything I've ever wanted. The one thing is that you have to build trust with people, and so much can be gleaned from being hypnotized and going through things that have been really difficult to deal with. And I've had my fair share of those things going on. So yeah, that is an awesome thing, not thing, but practice to have under your belt. I would love myself to do that. And I've thought about taking the classes. Time was my only, issue. But you said you did it in a day. Wow.
no, it's a full week.
Oh, the full week. Okay, I misunderstood you. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. It is a full week, which is hard to come by.
Yeah, it's all day, every day.
Good heavens. Well,
Uh, it was pretty intensive training, but it was fun. It was worth every minute of it.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
and
very nice.
it has been, you learn so much about yourself and your own mind and how it works that I truly believe that it was a worthwhile endeavor, even if I hadn't needed help sleeping, because it's you can use it in so many areas of your life.
Yes, absolutely. I know that to be true, and many of our friends here in MUFON are certified. So it is really wonderful, but you do have to have a lot of patience, and it does take time, working on issues and things like that. But good to know, very good to know. So also on your bio that I read, your day job is really very interesting. And you're in the space environment, you're dealing with so much. Can you tell us a little bit about that? You're a very busy person.
Yes, well, I work in a wind tunnel environment. So we do a lot of testing for not only commercial customers, but military also. And it is a very interesting job, and it's a fun job.
I bet.
At one time, I was responsible for the hardware in our wind tunnel, which just means if things broke, I got the fun job of fixing it. And so now I'm more in a supervisor capacity. So that's a little bit different. That's more of a management position, but it is a fascinating career, and I've really loved it.
Yes, my goodness. I just think that's awesome what you're doing, Let me back up a little bit. How did you ever get involved in, or let's say excited about ufology? Is this something that you've done your whole life, or was this something more recent in your life?
Sort of my whole life. It came about because of a very strong interest in astronomy.
Okay.
Started when I was a very small child, and my father started teaching me the constellations.
Oh, how neat.
Now, we didn't have a whole lot of money, but my parents splurged on a set of encyclopedias. There was no internet, right?
I had those too.
Well, we had a set of World Book encyclopedias.
Uh-huh.
And once my father had taught me a few constellations, I started looking them up and found out that, all those other stars formed constellations too. And I was doing this before I ever started school.
Uh-huh.
So he had me, they had already taught me a lot of reading and comprehension of stuff. So I already knew most of the constellations in the sky by the time I started school.
Oh, that is wonderful. Gosh, some people, are my age and still don't know. So isn't that amazing that you got that so early in your life?
I had a father that spent a lot of time looking at the sky. And so I did too. So I really had a lot of fun with it. And that just started a lifelong interest in astronomy. And I have more books than anybody really ought to on astronomy. Most of them to me by my parents.
Yes. Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time reading about it. And
now, why was your... Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
it's all right. So as far as ufology, it actually is sort of an extension of that interest,
Right.
because you start learning things about astronomy, you start learning things about other planets and other solar systems and our galaxy, other galaxies, and it's just sort of a natural progression.
Right.
Because you start thinking about, we're here on this little planet floating around the sun, and I bet other little planets with people on it floating around the sun out there, and that develops into just a full blown, I want to know, I want to find out, and I want to do it in a scientific way.
Was your father also into astronomy, or was he into the extraterrestrials? Was he looking for crafts?
He was not. He
Right.
was just interested in the stars and the constellations and whatever else he could see up there.
Uh-huh.
My knowledge, he never saw anything. If he did, he didn't tell me.
Yes, yeah. A lot of times back in those days, people didn't talk about that because, you know, it was really high giggle factor. So people kept quiet, as I later found out in life that even though others in my family had had experiences, there was no way they were giving that up. They weren't going to talk about it at any family gatherings and be labeled a kook, you know, because that was really, really big back then. You know, today, no. Then, absolutely. But, so then how did you get interested in joining MUFON?
Well, I was on the phone with my mother one day, and she mentioned that she had been talking to my uncle, who was talking about the UFO sighting he had when he was a teenager.
Oh.
So this was in the 50s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he joined the Navy in 59. So he was probably 16 years old. That was the closest he could figure at his age. So I said, "What do you mean a UFO sighting my uncle had? Nobody tells me anything. Could you not have told me this sooner?" And so I ended up calling my uncle, and he said, "Yeah, I had the sighting." And so he sat down with me, and we talked about it. He gave me all the details. Now, keep in mind, he was 85 years old at this time.
Oh, my.
He remembered every single detail of the thing he had, and it was pretty amazing sighting. But I'll just give you a short version of it. He and his first cousin were allowed to borrow the car, and they were driving into town, which is a big deal because...
What town were you in? Was this in Tennessee?
I was in Tennessee, Middle Tennessee.
Ooh,
and in fact,
awesome.
the sighting happened right close to the house where my uncle and my mother were raised, just a few hundred yards away. And I now own that house.
Oh, cool.
But the house is nowhere near town, okay?
Yeah.
We're talking like miles away from the nearest town. So they had just turned onto a certain road that they have to get on, and there's just fields there, of course. And they happened to notice this thing up in the sky, and my uncle says it looked like two hats, one on top of the other, brim to brim.
Oh, wow.
And it was black. It had a row of windows, and he said you could see someone moving behind the windows, but there were no details. You know, you couldn't tell what they looked like or anything like that. You could see motion behind the windows. And so they stopped, and he says they didn't even pull out of the road. They were so astounded by what they saw. So his cousin was driving. He stopped the car. They got out of the car, and as soon as they got out of the car, it disappeared. No sound. My. It didn't move. It just blank disappeared. And no one believed them. In fact, everyone told him that it was probably a helicopter.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, a helicopter. Okay.
I don't know what the helicopter looks like.
And how noisy they are.
There was no noise, nothing. No smell, no noise, nothing. And he said it was probably maybe a couple 100 feet in the air. And he could, I trust him on that because he's a hunter and he has to be able to gauge distance.
Right.
So, and another thing, my uncle's a straight arrow.
Yeah.
He said he saw it.
He did. Yeah.
I don't understand why no one believed him because they should know that about him, but they didn't, and it upset him even as he was talking to me about it.
Oh, sure.
So.
Yeah, it's always traumatic. It doesn't mean if it's 10 years or 50 or 60 years. I still remember my first one, and it is as traumatic sharing it as I did that first time. I don't know why that happens, but your uncle is clearly in that same situation where it And I've heard this from hundreds of people sharing many years after they've had an experience, and some of them for the first time, you know, which is why MUFON is here. We're where you go to talk about these things. Had your uncle ever made a MUFON report that you know of?
He had not. He has agreed to do so. So we'll be making a historical report. And but I want him sitting next to me when I do it, so I'll have to wait till the next time he's here.
Yes.
But yes, he has agreed to do so.
Oh, that's awesome. Has anybody else in your family had anything to do with UFO sightings or anything else?
My
No?
brother tries to tell me that my mother had some sightings, but my mother never admitted it to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. She didn't want to talk about it. So I don't know if it was something that actually happened and it was traumatic or whatever. So I don't count that because she never was willing to talk about it.
And I can honestly tell you, Sherry, that I was 27 years old with my first UFO landing and experience with extraterrestrials. And when I shared it with my mom that night, because I was so freaked out, that was the night she told me for the first time that she actually had seen them before, and one of my older brothers had seen them. No one in the family ever talked about it, so boy, I wish you could have talked to her about that. Because, you know, like I said, that was a big no-no back in the day. And my mom worked for Honeywell Aerospace, as did I, and in Clearwater, Florida. And if that kind of talk got out, you'd probably be let go just like that, you know. So yeah, oh my goodness, isn't that something? So that's what kind of brought you into MUFON? Were you trying to find out what in fact had happened to your uncle?
I did. I went online to see if I could do any searches about UFO sightings in the little town where we all lived,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't find anything.
Mm-hmm.
But in the process, I discovered MUFON. You know, there we are. So I joined. This is history.
I'm interested, when you found out about MUFON, what was the thought process? Did you stop for a minute and think, no, this is too goofy? Or what were you thinking when you saw that and you read about us?
I didn't want to join an organization that was not using scientific theology and methods to do their investigations.
Right.
Um, so I looked at the Tennessee MUFON chapter, what I could find out about it at that time. And I looked at the people who, the state director, the assistant state director, the head of investigations for Tennessee. And they all had backgrounds that told me that they were using scientific investigations because their backgrounds dictated that.
Right.
And so with that, I was comfortable joining and giving it a shot, at least giving it a fair chance.
I am so glad you did. This is awesome, and I love the story that, you know, your uncle had, and I wonder if others have had, you know, information they could share with you, or if they would now that it's so much more out in the open. And gosh, we're getting so many of these reports from people that are 30, 40, and 50-year-old reports. You know, so you never know, huh? Ask everybody at that family gathering.
This would be a 70-year-old report.
Right. Yeah.
So I have thought about doing just that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a thing coming up, and I think I'm going to ask around. Hey,
Yeah.
have you ever seen anything? Some of those people live in that little town.
That's right.
Putting it on my Facebook page. Hey.
Now, how many reports have you gotten this month as the Tennessee State Director?
So this month we've had, I believe, 8 reports.
Okay.
Now, usually we'll have anywhere between 5 and 10
Okay.
per month. Except I think February was outstanding. We had something like 26.
Yes, yeah. You do kind of see these flaps all over the United States, and not everybody will get them. It might just be the north, it might just be the south, or the east, or the west. You know, you see these strange flaps, and that's what I love about our stats. They show us where things are happening and how they're happening, and what type of craft are being seen. But lately, we've had so many entity sightings, I'm sorry. And I just think that's astounding. That seems to be going way up again. And I'm here to tell you they're real and they're out there and people are seeing them, and I'm so glad, because that in and of itself is like a soft disclosure, if you know what I mean, you know. And I don't know, people didn't report back in the day as much as they do today. So now we're hearing with these newer reports, all of these sightings that had been happening right straight away. Like had your uncle reported way back when, we would have that to look at some of these other crafts and comparing the crafts. There's so many different crafts, types, sizes and shapes. We had on here at United MUFON David Toon, who does the NASA technosignatures, and some of those ships are the size of states. So, it's very interesting. I'd love for you to see that and have him share what was on there. You can find that in our archives. So anybody that doubts what is going on out there, NASA is well aware, as is the government, and what's been happening for eons is now being seen by James Webb, and all these other telescopes that are out there. And they're pulling up this information NASA is seeing like never before, and finally, hopefully, going to report some of that. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that. So, I did want to know about what's going on there in Tennessee, since I'm also in Tennessee, and I'm so glad to know that you've taken over this state directorship. It's so exciting to me. For a while there, we didn't have a whole lot going on, so I just want to let any Tennessee viewers watching today know that we have updated the Facebook page for MUFON of Tennessee, and Sherry and myself and some others will be reporting in on that and sharing some historical and local things that are happening, and pictures and stuff like that. If you're interested in visiting that, just go to Facebook and go to Tennessee of MUFON, MUFON of Tennessee. And let's see, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, I know that you do have a email where they could call on you if they're interested in becoming a field investigator, to talk to you first and get some information about joining. And I guess we'll share that just before we close today. We'll share your email up there for them. It's a MUFON email. And let me ask you this: what's your favorite part about investigating?
My favorite part is speaking with the witnesses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of awe in their voices.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's exciting to me to hear that. I've never had an experience myself. So I guess I'm living vicariously through the witnesses that I interview, maybe. But it's exciting to speak with witnesses and hear the awe in their voice, and
Sure
then
is.
the investigating is just, it's fun to me. So, but still, the most exciting part to me is speaking with witnesses.
Right. And how big is your team there? Do you
So
have the chief investigator and the SSDs and ASDs all in line there?
we don't.
Okay.
Now, I'm the only one with the title at the moment. There's 7 of us, and we are in the process of rebuilding at this point.
Yes.
So we just through some issues and events that we've had happen. We've lost several people, and we definitely need new investigators.
Right. So you have 6 investigators then under you. So there's 7 in total. Okay, so Tennessee has had a lot of changes in the last 3 years, so I would like to just speak to that a bit. Since I had been really looking to move here, I had met Angelia Shear, who was a state director, and she passed away at such a young age in such a horrible way. And then we had another guy take over, and he was so busy in his day that he couldn't keep everything up to par. And then another person came in who also had many different things going on and wasn't able to stay up. And now we have you in place, and like I said, I'm elated. I couldn't be happier just to have somebody here, and a female again. So that's nice. Not that I really care, but I mean, it's fun, it's nice. Angelia and I became great friends and spent a lot of time together. And she wrote a book even before she passed, and it was just really wonderful being able to spend time with her. But so we have been through a lot, and now we're looking for moving forward and having everything available back online and getting things back together here. And I know you're excited because it is a challenge, but it is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It sure is. So of those 7 people, and I hope anybody listening from Tennessee, I hope that they will join you on climbing the ladder and becoming state section directors, or even an assistant state director for you. We do need field investigators, so if anybody watching would be interested in joining for Tennessee, we definitely need new people, because as we move forward, we'll have more and more reports coming in. I'm very sure of that, because MUFON is growing so quickly. And even the state of Tennessee has become a destination to live like never before. People that are leaving California or real hot areas are coming to a little bit cooler climate. Some more retirees, we hope. So, and we'd love to get anybody that was in the military that knows quite a bit, actually, about what's going on. Of course, they were never allowed to talk about it before, but you can now. So tell me what a day in the state director's life looks like right now.
Well, a day in my life. I always check my email. We have more cases, and I always do some sort of work on our back cases. We are so behind. A lot of back cases that need to be completed, and
Oh, okay. So you inherited some back cases. Oh, okay. All right.
and I've spread them around to a certain extent, but people have lives, and this is a volunteer organization.
Yes.
Everyone can't spend a whole lot of time doing that kind of thing. So, as state director, I get what's left. So every day, I'm doing something. An interview or some research or updating my cases or something. And it's slow going, but I am making a little bit of progress. and the guys that I have, I'm so lucky with the investigators that I do have. They're very experienced and very helpful.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
So
Yeah.
they have just been wonderful, and that's good because I'm not that experienced.
But you will be.
I've got so much to learn, and I'm lucky to
Yeah.
have.
And I think a lot of state directors that come into their positions will say that. They come in at first and it's like, wow, there's so much to do. And it seems like you want to learn as quickly as you can to get all things done the way that they need to be done. So these stats, which become historical, down the road a bit, they'll all become historical reports. You want to make sure that they're as thorough as they can be. And as you go, it just happens. It unfolds right before your eyes. All this information that you're working with is retained, and you get better and better and better all the time with every single case. And this is why it's important to have a good maybe 15 to 20 field investigators in any state. And of course, not everybody has that, which is why we're asking for people to join and become field investigators, so that they can also be a part of it and learn how to do this and help the state directors. And it is a lot of fun. It really, really is. And I was a state director for many years, and I never felt like I had all the answers either. And little by little, day by day, situation by situation, you gather your information. And in a very short time, and you're very new to this, just a couple months, so that's why I wanted to talk about all that for anybody listening that might be considering coming on, or if there's somebody listening in Tennessee that would like to move to a ASD or SSD position, or even CI, which is our chief investigator. That would be awesome. And all you have to do is ask your state director for that opportunity to move forward into those positions. And a lot of certified field investigators don't realize all they have to do is ask. And so this is why I like talking about this kind of thing. And are you currently holding any live meetings, or are you doing internet meetings?
I'm doing internet meetings right now because a few of us that we have, and we are spread all over the state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Literally from one end to the other. So, live meetings aren't really practical right now, but we do hold internet meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And got one coming up next week, in fact. We're trying to get our feet back on the ground, and so we made a conscious decision to not, at this point in time, put a lot of effort towards trying to recruit people, with exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Witnesses, in my opinion, are a huge opportunity to recruit.
Yes.
We always do that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as holding meetings for the general public, we have chosen not to do that at this point in time, but we are making plans to get back into that at some point. I don't know exactly when that's going to be, but we've got to get our own feet on the ground and rebuild our chapter before we can do that effectively, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. And even I am looking to hold meetings here in Paris again for Paris MUFON, and I'm in Tennessee. And I'm in the, I guess you'd say, the northwestern area of the state. And my meetings will be in person and educational, and we'll probably have speakers come and share, that sort of thing. I'm looking for a date and see, when that will work. So I'll make sure that I report everything to you and get all your validation for that. And if somebody wanted to come to your meeting online, how would they hook up with you? Are you doing this on the MUFON of Tennessee site, or are you doing this from just a Zoom meeting that you're running?
Well, so right now we're using Signal.
Okay.
Like I said, they are not public meetings at this time.
Oh, they're not public meetings at this time. These are just for your group, the 7 of you.
Right.
Okay,
As
okay.
we try to rebuild our chapter.
Okay.
We have a distance to go.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we are making plans. And
Yes. Yeah, that will be probably the biggest way to open up information to the public.
I'm sorry, Terry, I lost you there.
Oh, yeah, you can take over for a bit if you can hear me, because, oh, okay, there we go. My mic fell off. I don't know how that happened. That's never happened before, okay? I don't know what happened there. But anyway, I will try to hold some meetings and get some people aware that things will be moving forward in the future, and try to help you as much as I can. That's what I'm here for, is to really serve you. You're our state director, and I'm looking forward to doing that for you. And going to Cincinnati, I'll make sure that anybody there that I speak to that is from Tennessee knows that there will be some meetings, not just online, but also locally here in Paris if people want to travel here. And I know that that's the hardest part about being a state director, when everybody's state is huge. And you have somebody in one area, and maybe you might have 30 people on the west side and you're on the north side. So I know that that creates an issue in every state. But we're trying to find ways to do things online, hold online meetings, and then from that do chapter meetings, like mine here in Paris. For a very long time I held meetings here, and then once Angelia passed, I stopped my meetings, and for obvious reasons. And so we'll go ahead and bring all that back. So I look forward to people coming and being a part of that and learning about what we're doing here in the state. So I think that that's probably a good course for the future for everybody. And then we'll have plenty of people coming in and knowing what's going on and being aware of what we're doing. So maybe now would be a good time for you to share that email address. But if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, they could get a hold of you at your email address or on the Facebook page.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So that email address is S. Ramanathan, which is SRAMA Nathan, NATHAN .MUFON.FI@gmail.com.
Okay, all righty. And we'll try to I'll go ahead and put that up on the MUFON of Tennessee site. So if you want to reach out and get involved and become a field investigator in the state, you can reach her there. So, okay. Well, I'm telling you, we are running out of time a little bit. So I'd like to just invite everybody to come back next week. Or, I'm sorry, not next week, not next month. I needed to make sure I said this right. I will be in Cincinnati next month, so there will be no MUFON meeting, United MUFON meeting, for the month of August. In September, however, we'll be back on then, and I will be putting up all the information on the Tennessee MUFON site as well as my own Facebook page. So please, and on United MUFON's page. So please visit those pages to see what's going on and who we'll have on. I'm looking for a really big turnout for that because I'm hoping that we're going to have some very exciting news at our next meeting, since we'll be coming home from the symposium with all the information that we gleaned there. And I am really excited about going. I just can't wait for that to happen. It just seems like it's taking forever to get here. And I wouldn't mind a little cooler weather either. It has really just been so hot here in Tennessee, as I'm sure it has been everywhere. The summer is just like that, but yikes. So thank you so much, Sherry, for coming on and sharing with us. I love that you've shared with us about your uncle. That is so cool. And I hope we can learn more about that and get him to upload that to MUFON.com. And have you noticed, let me just ask you this before you go, have you noticed any one place in Tennessee getting more exposure with sightings than others?
Oddly enough, Middle Tennessee seems to be getting a lot of sightings. Not that they didn't get any before, but
Right.
it seems to be getting more frequent in Middle Tennessee, more so than I see it in other areas of the state.
Is the Nashville area, is that considered Middle Tennessee? Or, okay, yes, okay. I have seen different things coming through there, and it is really interesting. They have had so much going on, but the whole state, I feel, is actually picking up a bit. As I'm watching from times past, it had kind of really gone down for maybe about a year. And now it just seems to be picking back up again. So I'm always interested in statistics like that. What moves these off-world, species, beings, crafts to target certain areas? It's just very interesting. So really proud of what we're doing. So thank you again. I am so grateful that you would come on and share what's going on here with us, and I wish you the best, and look forward to reporting what's going to be happening at the MUFON Symposium in September when we're back again at United MUFON. So thank you for joining us, and I hope everybody has a great afternoon. And don't forget, keep looking up.